Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Mark.
Good afternoon. All right, today I hope you're all feeling well because I have a question for you today, okay? Now, my question is quite simple. We've talked a lot over the previous lessons, all about JIlin province. Now, can you tell me any big industries that are in JIlin province itself?
那我们大家呢可以回忆一下我们之前几节课的内容，在吉林省都有哪些比较重大的产业呢？ I think the first one is the car industry.
Yes, the car industry. Yes, well done. Do you remember one of the Chinese brands that we talked about?
About the car?
Yeah, one of the brands. You know, it's red, sort of like a flag.
Oh, red flag.
Red flag or Hongqi.
Yes.
Yeah? So the car industry is very important to JIlin province, especially by making its own cars and having lots of foreign cars as well. Now, what other industries do we have in JIlin? We've got car industry, that's one.
And the other one is the subway.
Subway.
Yeah.
So we can talk about transportation, really, can't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we got subway, light rail. Okay. So transportation industry is very big in JIlin province as well. Anything else? What about food?
Corn industry.
The corn industry, yes. That is very big because corn is widely grown throughout the whole province. It is part of the golden corn belt around the world. Now, we just don't think about corn itself. What can we do with corn?
First, we can turn corn into different products.
Yes, we can turn corn into different products. So, a corn is just not food. It can be turned into something else. For example, we can take corn and we can make ethanol. We can take corn and we can produce clothing. Yes?
And starch.
Yeah, and starch. So corn is a very good food because it has so many uses. So a corn and the corn industry is very big because it starts off as a food and it can be turned into other things or sold as food in and around the province or exported around the world. Yeah? So we've got the automobile industry, we've got the corn industry. What else have we got?
Sports industry.
Sports, we have sports, yes, but not as big as the other industries. What else? What did we talk about last lesson?
Oh, ginseng.
Ginseng. What is ginseng?
Ginseng is a kind of plant, but we use the root of this plant.
So it's a plant with a root.
Yeah.
But we only use the root, yes?
Yeah.
So what can we use the root for?
For medicine, for nutrition.
Yeah. We can use it in traditional medicine, yes. We can use it in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. We can use it in our food, yes. We can also use it as a cosmetic for our skin or body. So, do you think ginseng is an industry? Just the plant with a root, yes?
I think it's an industry.
You think it's an industry? Why do you think it's an industry?
Because like you said, we can turn ginseng into different products like cosmetics and some nutrition, some is for the TCM.
Yeah?
Yes. So if we turn the ginseng into this kind of products, it needs the industry to help.
Okay. So let's go back to the ginseng. It's a plant, but only the root we care about. Yeah? Now, is ginseng cheap to buy?
No, it's not cheap to buy.
It's not cheap to buy. So is it expensive to buy a ginseng root?
Kind of.
Well, I suggest if you have money and you can afford it, it's perfectly fine. But for most people, to buy a root, not a flower, is more expensive. So it's an expensive product. So that must mean there is an industry for it, yes?
Yes.
Because we know ginseng is used in TCM and traditional medicine. It's also used with food. And people like to buy it from around the world, so it's a global player. So it is an industry by itself. So let's talk about ginseng. Now, JIlin province has a redundant mountain, mostly full of water now. What's it called?
Changbai Mountain?
Yes, Changbai Mountain. Anybody been to Changbai Mountain?
Actually, no.
No? Oh, that's okay. I've been there a couple of times. It's very nice in the summer. But I'd like to go in the winter. And it did snow the other day in Changbai Mountain, if you saw that. Snow already. So Changbai Mountain is the only place in JIlin province that has natural growing ginseng. Okay? So if we want ginseng, we can buy it from Changbai Mountain. Okay? So Changbai Mountain is the original industry, okay, of ginseng in China. So the first one in China. Now, JIlin is a big province, yes? A big province. Now, just think, 85% of the national market comes from JIlin. So, 85% of the product comes from JIlin province. Now think about it, JIlin province is big, but it's not as big as the whole of China, yes? So for 85% of the national market, all comes from JIlin. Now JIlin is focusing on promoting and developing ginseng, okay? Because ginseng is so popular and in demand, and because of the money it brings back from growing it, selling it, we need to protect it. We also need to strengthen the whole industry so that we can have a natural source of plant stroke root that can be grown in a safe environment and can be harvested at the right time and then sold locally or nationally or even abroad, or it can be produced into something else, like given to another industry to turn it from a root into a medicine. Okay? So we need to look after this industry, okay? So how can we do this? How can we do this? Any ideas? How can we do this?
You mean turn ginseng into the industry?
Yeah, because we've taken a product, which is only a root, okay, a root that is so in demand for different industries, we need to build on that demand. We need to increase the market value, we need to increase the value of ginseng and make it a strong industry. So, to improve the growing and procedures of ginseng will help the industry grow larger, yes? Now, JIlin wants to turn its ginseng industry into a 100 billion level advantage industry. Because an industry has many levels, and we're not talking about just the root. We have to start at the very bottom. Where is it grown, the farmers, and then how it's maintained, and then research, distribution, selling, exporting. There's many different levels, okay? But most importantly, we need to protect this industry because it's a natural plant stroke root. We can't just plant it everywhere. It's only grown in certain areas. Now, within JIlin province, we have Changbai Mountain ginseng, okay? We have that. JIlin has its own ginseng, and it's grown at Changbai Mountain. So they put the name together, JIlin Changbai Mountain Ginseng. Okay, now because of its location, it's on that same belt as the corn industry. It means we have the right conditions for growing things. Remember, we need lots of sunlight, we need lots of water, and we need many days of clear weather. Okay? Now, ginseng is known as the king of 100 herbs. The king, so it means it's number one. It is the best of 100 herbs, and even to go as far as rare treasures, okay? Rare treasures. Now this goes back to the magical effects of clearing away evil spirits. People believe in these things. That is up to you if you agree or disagree, but people believe that it kept away evil spirits from coming after you. And it also settled spirits. You know, maybe it found them peace. Maybe it made them want to move on to another world. Yeah? And it also stopped fear. Yeah? And it also, we're terrified of things, but ginseng has its effects to calm you down. It's a natural calming solution, okay? Now, we talked about ginseng's health values. Yes, it's used to calm you down. It's used to help clean your blood, your kidneys, lower your blood pressure, and to help you sleep. So all this from one natural source of vegetation. Remember, it's only a root. Now, flowers grow everywhere, all over the world. Yeah? Some are big, some are small, some are beautiful, some are poisonous. But ginseng, it's not a natural beauty because we don't actually see it. It's under the ground. All we know is that ginseng is grown under the ground and its roots can carry on going straight down or move out. They have different effects on people, different prices. So, ginseng is known as the first of 3 treasures of Changbai Mountain. Ginseng is the first. I wonder, what are the other 2? Anybody know? What are the other 2 treasures of Changbai Mountain?
那大家知道吉林三宝之外的另2个宝是什么吗？
It's a good question. We shall look at that next lesson. Okay? We'll find out what they are. But number 1 is ginseng itself. Okay? Maybe number 2 is the mountain. Because it's not actually a mountain, is it? It's a volcano. But next lesson we'll try and find out what number 2 and number 3 are. Okay. So, Changbai Mountain. Hopefully you'll go see it. Maybe you can buy some ginseng. But on December the 25th, 2002, the former State General Administration of Quality Supervision, Inspection and Quarantine approved the implementation of the original regional product protection of JIlin Changbai Mountain. Right, that is quite a mouthful. Okay, the inspection quarantine approved the implementation of the original regional product protection of JIlin Changbai Mountain. So what does that mean? What does that mean to us? Huh?
Is an honor?
It's not like an honor. What it's doing is your state administration, either from JIlin province's state or national level, somebody has decided that we need to protect and safeguard everything around Changbai Mountain. So how do we protect the mountain? And what is naturally available on that mountain? Because we know ginseng is grown on the sides of Changbai Mountain. Now, ginseng is very expensive, okay? So it brings in a lot of money. So it's a big money industry, ginseng. So how can we protect this purely natural root? Yeah, we've been ordered to by the administration. So how can we protect this root? Most importantly, the mountain where it's grown and its surrounding area. So what can we do to protect this mountain?
那我们能做一些什么来保护长白山呢？ I think that first the government has some policies of protecting it. This is like the official one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that, but think of the things we can do. What can we do to protect that mountain?
We protect the environment.
Yes, protect the environment. Can we just throw rubbish on the floor?
No.
No, we should put rubbish up and we should put it in the bins, yes?
Yeah.
Because animals and plantation do not want to absorb dying rubbish and it will poison the earth. So we need to keep the mountain clean. We also need to protect the mountain from us. Okay? From us. That sounds a bit strange. How do we protect a mountain from us? First, we can't dig on it. Yeah, we can't go digging. Second, we can't drive our cars all over it. Yeah, we have to reduce cars because cars create pollution. Yeah? We also have to limit where we go on the mountain so we don't naturally wear it out. You know, if we keep walking tens of thousands of people along the same path, it's going to make that path smaller. It's going to ruin the path. Yes? Now, if you think about it, also in China you have the Great Wall. Parts of that wall have been shut for many years because they are preserving it, they are repairing it. It's taking years to do, but they are protecting it. Yeah? Plus, we also have our weather conditions as well. It snows a lot. It's already snowed in Changbai Mountain. And the weather, Mother Nature, is the biggest natural destroyer of everything. So, cold, snow, ice will slowly degrade that mountain. Yeah? Water will fall from the sky, it will go into the ground or cracks, it will freeze. We all know that ice will expand and cause things to move, crack and expand. And then we'll have rock falls and damage the mountain. But that's something we can't control. But we can control the amount of pollution in the air. The same as how much light is coming from the sun if we protect our natural ozone layer. So there's many things we can do. Are there any questions?
Okay, I have a question for ginseng that you mentioned. That how can we improve the industry of ginseng?
How can we improve it? First, we need to maintain what industry we have now. We can't over sell or else we'll lose value on the product. We can't destroy the land. So we have to be very careful on how we farm this precious root. We also have to think, if we suddenly take all our product that's only grown in one place, how long does it take to grow ginseng?
I think it's for years. It's not very easy to plant.
So we can't plant it and mass produce it. We have to let it grow naturally.
Yes.
Now, that will take on the seasons and the time of the year. So we can't speed this process up. But if we take all of our product and we sell it on the market, we have nothing left. So how do we have an industry? So we need to release certain amounts at certain times to keep the flow going and import, export and money coming back to the province and to the country itself. Any more questions?
And do you think science is very important for the ginseng industry?
Science can be, but for ginseng, it's a natural plant that only grows in certain areas. So whatever area it grows in must have everything that root needs.
Okay.
So how can we improve the ground if it takes years to grow the root? So I think it's best to preserve the areas we know around the world. And for example, in the province, Changbai Mountain, preserve what's there, keep it exactly the way it is, because that's how ginseng was grown, and that's how we know we can find it and dig it up and sell it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, as there's no more questions, I will see you next time on Fun with Mark. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.